Recent incident out of Minneapolis is a tragedy that should never have occurred. It's cast a dark cloud over our honorable profession. In plain speak, it was wrong.
For the first time, Jacksonville's sheriff speaks about the death of George Floyd in Minnesota and the nationwide unrest that has plunged America into a week of crisis. Thank you for joining us tonight for First Coast News at 5. I'm Anthony Austin.
And I'm Heather Crawford, broadcasting live tonight from my home as we continue to practice social distancing. Now, the protests in Jacksonville this weekend did include some scenes of violence. A small number of demonstrators destroyed police cars, and police responded with tear gas and with arrest. 4 days later, Jacksonville Mayor Lenny and Sheriff Mike Williams gave an update today on the police response. David Jones is on your side. He was there for that meeting and joins us live tonight downtown with what they had to say. David?
They raised many legitimate concerns in a civil and just way in the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, as they always do when organizers come to them, worked with them to safely express their views.
Both Mayor Lenny Curry and Sheriff Mike Williams taking a stance on this past weekend, separating the peaceful protesters from the people the mayor referred to as, quote, bad actors.
They moved through the city, leaving the courthouse, and really over the next several hours, you had events where they would block traffic in the middle of the street, running over innocent people's cars who were trying to drive downtown, attempting to block the Main Street Bridge on numerous occasions. We did have bottles thrown again on Sunday.
The sheriff says that was the time police determined the protest was no longer peaceful. When marchers went back to the courthouse, the sheriff says they were ordered to disperse.
We gave them several avenues to leave the area. A lot of them took advantage of that.
But protesters we talked to said they felt boxed in as dozens of arrests were made.
Remember, as Sunday progressed, we had just finished Saturday, and so our posture was not to allow just incremental steps toward the rioting again.
At the press conference, police also showing pictures of a damaged squad car and weapons recovered, like a Molotov cocktail. But the sheriff saying it's only going to take one incident to change the nature of a protest and lead police to disperse people.
You can't go from breaking the law back to peaceful protest, breaking the law back to peace. We're not going to allow that to happen.
And we're back out here live at Hemming Park here in downtown Jacksonville. A message of hope, positive change right here on the floor of Hemming Park. Really something that the city needs right now, something that the whole country needs. So really a positive thing to see here. Do want to touch on some other things that we did hear from the sheriff. He said that around 4 o'clock this morning, a firebomb was tossed into the sheriff's office fleet management yard. Fortunately, no injuries there, no damage to Jacksonville Sheriff's Office vehicles there. Outside of that, the sheriff saying police did find some makeshift explosive devices in downtown, attributing it mostly to one person, saying it seemed to him that there was some organization around that. So really, the big takeaway here is that there's no serious concern around all these hundreds of peaceful protesters gathering in the city over the past few days. It's just the concern about these individuals who might be trying to instigate something. We're live in downtown Jacksonville. David Jones, First Coast News, on your side.